Okay. So, hello, Oluwapelumi. Thank you for
I
Hi, thank you for coming here, taking the time to actually talk to me. And I just want, I know it's not really an easy thing to do because we're all very busy people, but it's such a pleasure having you here. And just to have a recap, what we're actually doing is to talk about the state of the child, especially in Africa and Nigeria to be precise, and our science culture, areas around our maker culture as well, neurodiversity, and just areas around what you're very interested in. From what I've read about your profile, you're an aspiring neurophysicist. I'm sure I got that right. And it's such a posh word. Yeah, when we're in school, who knows what a physicist is? You just you just go to school saying you want to be a medical doctor, but that's very lovely. And I'd like to give you the floor to just talk about yourself a little bit and why you actually chose this career path.
okay. Still, thank you very much for the opportunity. It's actually a privilege to be here today. I'll never imagine myself. For the past 10 years or past 5 years that I'll have the opportunity to be here. Advocating for neuroscience, or telling people about myself. It's a privilege. So once again, I'm Oluwapelumi Kelabade, and currently a medical student at Obafemi Awolowo University in Nigeria. For many of us who might not know what Nigeria, where Nigeria is in West Africa, and we are proud to be. We're proud to be the. I think we call us the. I can't remember the one we call us.
Is it the giant of
The pride of
Africa
the
thing?
giant of Africa. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. So a little bit about me. I'm an aspiring physical scientist. What that means is that I love medicine and I love science. So what inspired me to do medicine at first is that I love science. I do love that the act of solving problems. There's this type of energy or this type of joy you feel when you solve a problem, and you come to realize that the problem is something probably your classmates or probably your probably your tutor or your teacher in the class when you educate. This pride or this joy you get when you solve. That's really what that's how everything starts for me. Starting from my JSS1 down to SS3, I always find this joy finding solutions to problems, finding different steps to, finding new methods to solve problems and all. So that's my interest for science. I've always loved science. When I was growing up, I actually thought that I would become probably a scientist, I would become a biologist, something like a biophysicist, or just something science. But then I come to understand that when it comes to science in Nigeria, when it comes to science in Africa, there's lots. There's really lots.
Yeah.
When I myself, my thesis tutor, like as well, studied physics in school. And
Okay.
right there studying, doing teaching, teaching at my school, collecting probably like 20,000 naira per month. So like, that's all, like, I was like, no, this is, can't, I can't really do that. I can't really do that. So I was like, okay, what if I do medicine? Make it like a little bit of science. And as well, when it comes to practical, I come to understand that Africa and Nigeria is far behind, like almost 100 years behind when it
Yeah.
comes to practical education, when it comes to science, having hands-on education. So I come to understand, what if I do something like related to human? Because humans is not scarce. Like, if I want to do practical, I can just do practical with myself or my
Yeah.
classmates. I was like, I think next thing would be a goal. It would be something I would love to. So that's how I divide my interest from medicine into science, like from science into medicine. Then,
Okay.
yeah, my interest in neuroscience all started along with I also like read Ben Carson. I don't know even about Ben Carson. One of
Yeah. Yeah. I read
yeah,
about him
like
first.
I really read a lot about what he said about brain, different things about it. Then I was just like, it's nice, it's very nice. Then when it's like when I also learn about nervous system when I get to SS2. I find it, the best system I've learned so far. We've learned about different forms of systems, the circulatory systems, the digestive system. I just find that, wow, these nervous systems look different. It looks very interesting. And I love physics as well. I love physics. I love solving problems. I see that, there's like a way, it has like a lot of hands on almost everything that I have
Yeah.
interest in. There's part of math in it, there's part of physics in it, there's part of computer science in it. I was like, this is very nice. So that's my first encounter or my first spark towards neuroscience. I was like, okay, let me just try it. So in my year one, I've always like, okay, I'll probably become a neurologist because I don't find myself doing surgery. I just, I'll probably become a neurologist because I find myself not so, I'm not really good with handling things. I'm not really that. things. I feel like I find myself doing much of problem solving, leading
Yeah.
team, lectures. I don't find myself doing handiwork, cutting and doing stuff. I was like, probably so then I attended the conference. Then a conference, that conference, different students come to that conference. They present their papers. I mean, they have a scholarly discussion. I was like, wow, people are doing this. They're presenting papers. They are doing this. I was like, wow, this is nice. Then I come to that's my first encounter about research. I was like, wow, it's something I called research. Then I go online, look for top researchers in the world. I come across them. I'm like, oh, this is cool job. This is very nice. Then now linked to what I've always loved to. I've always loved. It says that I've always loved solving problems. I've always loved science. I was like,
Mm.
ooh, this is nice. Research. I mean, research, yeah, it's also solving problems. Yeah, creating new knowledge. I was like, ooh, this is very nice. Probably I'd like to do, I'll probably become a scientist as well. Then my love for medicine is still there. I mean, I still love the fact that I love human, I
Yeah.
know those sort. I was like, okay, what if I do medicine and I do science? I probably do something around medicine, around human. I also do something around basic science, solving problems, and I'm like, okay, I think I'll have to become a physician scientist. So my
Mm.
aspiration is that I would like to get my PhD or postdoctoral fellowship after my medical school in basic science, in translational neuroscience. After that, I'll do my residency in neurology. So I'll become a board certified physician scientist. So what I would love to do is that I would like to translate my results, I mean, what I get from a lab into clinic, and from clinic into lab, and if possible, from clinic as well into community. In the sense that I'm trying to like advocate for, okay, probably find that, oh, subject A is very dangerous. I might put it into clinic, okay, let's try to like avoid this. Then as well, put it into community, please, people, don't expose yourself to subject A. So that's
Yeah.
like how my interest and everything all starts. So it all starts with problem solving. I mean, finding the joy of problem solving
Yeah.
in that way. It comes with developing interest in human biology, the fact that there is limited access to practicals in Nigeria. I mean, I've always heard about electron microscope. I've always heard about hydrogen. I've not seen hydrogen myself. I've never seen it myself.
Really?
So I've never seen hydrogen myself. I've never seen the natural hydrogen myself. But I've always seen human. I've always seen eye. I've always seen
Yeah.
ear. Brain. I was like, okay, let me just go to medicine. So that's like
Hmm.
um, then for my social impact work, Neuro Aspire, I swear, I said my first year, I swear, I mean, my first year is really like, I would say, it's my time where I explore a lot of things. I do a lot of things.
Yeah.
You can see my profile as well. I mean, many of what I do is for my first year. Why? Because I have the whole time to do a lot of things. I've not entered medical school because first year is just basic science, just
Hmm.
chemistry, biology, and physics. And all those things I mean, when I was secondary school, I have very solid knowledge about this. I was like, oh, let me just explore a lot of things. So my second impact work what happened when I attended the virtual international summer school. It's all about neuroscience and stuff. So now I was my first year already, and the school is open to students in SS1, I mean grade 10, grade 12, grade 11 worldwide.
Nice.
Then I was in my part one, actually, they also open to undergrad students. So
Okay.
then, like, summer school is all about neuroscience. They teach us different kinds of and different fields of neuroscience. So there's a day like that. So the teacher was like asking, who know about Broca's area, who know about Wendy's area, who know about Space and Stan. I was like, what's that? What was Space and Stan? What was Broca's area? What's that? And funny enough, I went to like just check the chat board. I saw a lot of, I mean, a lot of entry, a lot of people raising up their hands. I was like, okay, let me just see. Then someone just off the mic and off the camera, and I saw a small girl. I mean, a very small girl, giving answers to those questions. I mean, giving answers to those. I was like, wow. And I'm currently my part one, and I feel like I have very deep knowledge of biology, deep knowledge of nervous
Yeah.
system. But I don't know those subjects. I was like, wow. So there's a lot of gap. I mean, I'm in Nigeria, those people are in United States and United Kingdom. I was like, oh, there's a lot of gap. So that's like my first spark
Hmm.
towards, I mean, co-founding New Aspire. So
Let
this,
me.
yes, the second co-founder is also a doctor already. He's currently a neuroscience fellow at University of Ibadan. So I was like, okay, I think I have to like do social impact work. I mean, I really have to like also like improve representation of Nigerian as well. I mean, I want also like know the current status of neuroscience in the world. So then,
Yeah.
first year, which is last year, we organized a boot camp. Then we introduced them to quality neuroscience education. So we teach them what almost everything. I feel like United States students will also know as well. And we did that for 5 days. And as well, we do something again. We did
Hmm.
4 weeks science summer school. First week we introduced them to a lot of things. Second week we had the mentorship, a career fair. where I invited some speakers to just talk about it, just talk to them about different things in neuroscience. Then the third week, we did a little of hands-on. I said like very, very vague. I mean, very, very rare for us to have hands-on experience in science in Africa or Nigeria. I mean, you are doing science. What we do in Nigeria, what we do in Africa is learning science. We read textbooks, we pass exams. It's very, very hard for you to like, I mean, to have your hands on science, have your hands
Yeah.
on photosynthesis. So I was like, okay, what to just, so I just like wrote a letter of email to Black Group. Then they support us with the kits. Then we put it, we just they ship it down from UK down to Nigeria. Then we did little, I mean, it's a hands-on section where we just the other hands-on brain. I mean, it's like a model of brain,
Yeah.
how brain reacts to fear, how it reacts to light, all those stuff. So what the students were able to do, and we finished the summer school just last 2 weeks. So that's like
That's
all.
actually,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's like everything about me and everything about my courses. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Very, very amazing. But I want to go back some parts where you've talked about your love for neuroscience and your love for
Mm-hmm.
medicine and then physics
Mm-hmm.
as well. So
Mm-hmm.
for let's say for someone who doesn't know any of these, they know medicine, which is very popular. How are
Yeah.
you going to explain in a very simple way what a medical neurophysicist is? What that core thing that makes them separate and different and the kind of impact they can actually make.
Okay, yeah. So thank you so much for that. So right now, aside fact that I have interest in neuroscience, it's a common thing right now that out of 3/4 of the worldwide illness, most of them
Yeah.
are neurological. I
Okay.
myself, I can count more than 100 people in my community that have one way neurological disorders, be it stroke, be it Parkinson's disease. I lost my grandmother to brain tumor. I lost my grandpa to Parkinson's disease.
Oh my.
I have a lot of friends that probably like they have different forms of neurological disorders, speech disorders. So it's like a common thing that many people like. I mean, neurological disorders is like a common place that
Yeah.
it's just the fact that many of us don't know what they are, but it's just everything. People with autism, different forms of neurological disorders. So
Mm.
now, in saying that, where science now comes in, where medicine now comes in, is that the aim of medicine is that we want to treat those diseases, we want to treat stroke, we want to give them
Yeah.
drugs to like improve probably the management and probably completely cure it, probably completely cure it. But you just come to understand is that many of the neurological disorders, many of them don't actually have cures. The only what we do in hospitals is just we manage them, just like okay, just like to sustain them for a very period of time.
Mm.
Parkinson's disease has no cure, has no optimal cure right now. Alzheimer's disease has no absolute cure. Stroke itself,
Yeah.
it's like it's like a done, like it's something that has been done. You can't reverse it again. So the only thing you just have to do is just to manage them, manage them, manage them. So when science now comes in now, science is now like, okay, you don't have to this is a problem. I mean, everything about science is that you're trying to like find solution to the problem. So this
Mm.
is a problem, is neurological disorders, there's this disease, it's this disease. So they're trying to like find explanation to what caused that problem. Then
Okay.
if possible, and as well, find solution to that problem. So many of the things that you have right now in neurological disorders is finding to understand the problem because you have to
Yeah.
like before you solve the problem, you have to like understand it. You have
Yes,
different theories,
absolutely.
different papers, different publications, different pursuits on explaining different, the mechanism behind development of all these diseases. And as we
Mm.
also have different sectors of science, which is the innovation sector in the sense that you're not trying to like, okay, if you already know the understanding of this problem, okay, if A plus B is what affects C, what if we just cut A and cut B?
Mm.
Probably C might not come up. So that's the innovation part of science, means that they're not trying to find solution to the problem. So now
Mm.
I myself I have interest in medicine, I have interest in science. So what I will do is like, okay, the problem I solve in science, then I'll put into medicine
Medicine. Okay.
to treat people because I'll be in the position of treating people. Those scientists, what they do is just find the problem, they solve it, and just give the doctors to have their hands on it. So the doctor now will be not be the one that will watch. Okay, take this. Same as with many of the diseases that we have drugs. Many drugs are also like discovered by or invented by the scientists. So it's we as doctor that we take those drugs and give the patient and treat them. So that's like all how science and medicine comes in place.
Yeah.
Solving the problem, then the medical doctors, the medical they also take those solutions and give patients and make everything work well. Yeah.
Hmm, nice. Okay, so just to be very clear for people that might be listening to this or who will be watching this someday, to a
Mm-hmm.
typical or someone who's doing a combination of medicine and science and neuroscience is basically someone around the center of finding solutions that can help medical
Mm-hmm.
experts kind of
Right.
prefer more treatments to diseases, especially is it we call it neurological diseases
Logical,
like Parkinson's, autism, and all of
autism,
that.
Alzheimer, autism, okay?
Okay, so but as a student, what's the would I say the career culture for like you in Africa? We know that some of these things are very popular in the Western
Mm-hmm.
countries, but
Mm-hmm.
when you're talking about this in Nigeria, what's the career impact? Let's just say you want to do this thing, but you don't want to go abroad. I want to work and serve my country. Is this something that,
Mm-hmm.
if you get what I mean, if is this something that is actually
Yeah.
popular? Is it something that someone needs to stick out yourself for and kind of say, "Oh, I want to make a difference." Does the environment, the Nigerian environment, support
No.
this kind of career?
No. Not
No,
no really at all.
not at
Aside
all.
medicine, in science, there's this like I mean, there's a lot of problems around science in the sense that
Mm,
the surroundings, I mean, the community is not supporting. I mean, it's not supportive.
yeah.
And when trying to like compare the Western world and the Africans, the basic difference between the fact that okay, the basic difference. I mean, what is making them kind of kind of supersede or superior is the fact that okay, they have funding and as well the community is supportive.
Yeah.
But here in Africa, here in Nigeria, I mean, it's very, very like we are found that there's no funding. We rely on international funding. There's no like local investment or local
Yes.
funding. So all we do is just have to like rely on the international funding. We
Mm,
probably even rely on them coming here. They take our data, then take it back. It's not as if that we ourselves we have like a hub where students where researchers probably go there and find problems and like
mm,
it's very, very, very difficult right here. So even most of the development that we have in science in Africa, in Nigeria, it all comes to the fact that many of us here are leaving the country and spend 10 years of their life and come back to
mm,
Nigeria to like probably impact and those sort of things. There's not like it's very, very area to have like indigenous development, indigenous talent development in Africa and Nigeria. So I myself, I mean, I think the best way for me to right now is to like probably like have to leave the country, then learn the culture, learn everything,
yeah.
then as well come back to Nigeria. So one of my long-term pursuits or long-term aspirations is that I love like probably be the largest integrative neuroscience institute in Africa.
Mm,
I don't know even about Allen Institute. Allen Institute
yeah.
is one
I
of
know
the
the
big
Allen Institute.
yes. So I really love to have something here in Africa where we can I mean we can really have development and trainings of
Yeah.
indigenous African talents where we can empower them, mentor them. Same as with what I'm currently doing with New as well, in terms that we are trying to like develop them, train them, let them see what is actually into. So that's like
Mm,
how so it's very, very difficult. I mean it's very, very difficult. And as well neurological neurology is a very underrepresented field in medicine. Only people
yeah.
want to go there because it is research heavy and
It is
research
research
is
heavy.
very,
Yes.
very research heavy and many research is like research is another thing elsewhere is another thing
Yeah.
again in Nigeria
Yeah.
so it's research heavy so people just don't just give up because there's no funding there's no government that support them just just do cardiology and just do this and
Yes.
that's how it is here.
But I'm very curious. So that means when someone is thinking of, say, I want to be a neurologist or something
Mm-hmm,
around the neuro
mm-hmm,
field, you're already
mm-hmm.
positioning yourself to go abroad because the Nigerian culture doesn't support you, and
Yeah,
it's so
they
sad because we have a lot of problems regarding autism and. And
autism
a lot of people are
so
not even aware about it. The environment does not even support. So you see a child
mm-hmm,
who has some kind of neurological disease, and you're saying
mm-hmm.
he's possessed, or you're saying
Yeah,
the parents are not training that child properly. It's a
definitely.
very big thing that even in 2025 you still see people
Mm-hmm.
or parents negligent to
Definitely.
that, and it's so sad.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there's I know that it's not there yet, but I want
Mm-hmm.
to assume there might be one or two people in
Mm-hmm.
Africa or in Nigeria that are
Mm-hmm.
pushing for this
Yeah,
field of
definitely.
medicine. I don't know if you know some
Yes.
of them and you can talk
Yes,
about.
I know I know a lot of them because I feel like over the time, in the next 50 years, things will
Yeah,
definitely change. But right now, we are 100 years behind. I mean, 100 years behind the race.
that's
But
bad.
right,
100
I mean,
years
that's
behind.
very bad. But I mean, over the past 10 years, over the time I myself have explored neuroscience, I've been seeing it of the neuroscience. I know of Dr.
Yeah,
Maina. He recently won a grant that will be the first biobank in Africa. I mean,
I didn't
biobank
get the name.
like okay, yeah, I said like I currently know about someone, Dr. Minor. He's currently
Okay.
let me see, like he's currently like lecturer or professor at University. So like um, he recently won a grant. We call it Welcome, I think Welcome Trust grant. And
Yeah.
project is that he wants to build. I mean, he wants to build the first biobank. I mean, the first biobank in the sense that the biobank is like even having specimens from African African people and putting it in a store so that anyone can just go to that store, then take the specimen for their research. And the
Yeah.
first background in the United States is, I mean, it has been in existence since 1948. But right now, Africa, this is our first time we're having something like a biobank. And it's just because that he won a grant. And the grant he wants, he has been applying for the past 10 years. He said that
Hmm.
every year, always right, he always like send applications, they will just revise, 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 and revise. And he recently won it this year. So that's been a lot of them. Aside him, I still know Dr. You know Dr. Wolabi is like one of the top stroke researchers now in the world,
Yeah.
probably in the world. And yeah, so and I mean they are going to the development as well. And many of the developments are being the fact that many of them they study here, they go here, probably to spend 5 years of their life, 6 years of their life, they come back to the
Yeah.
park. It's not like if you are like a solely, I mean, you have like fully complete Nigerian that is doing other stuff. Many of them are leaving the country, then coming back. Many of them are leaving the country and coming back. Because right now, it's only very limited institutions in Africa and Nigeria that have electron microscope, just electron microscope. So just what really what it is. It's really what it is. Yes, there's a lot of development, a lot of networks, a lot of
Yes.
groups. As a student, I mean, these students are still trying to like improve the representation of all these things. I myself, I'm doing that. There are a lot of, I mean, organizations, networking that is trying to like improve access to, trying to improve all those stuff. I mean, the developing, like I said, it's a developing thing. But over the next 5 years or next 50 years, I feel like things will change. Things will change in Africa, things will change in Nigeria. And the issue of
Okay.
literacy, there's literacy issue, health
Yes.
literacy, like people hardly know about, like, I mean, there's still a lot of literacy issues in the sense that we still need to literate, like, we still need to, like, teach, educate the public about these things. Not everything.
Hmm.
I mean, there's a lot of myths, a lot of things around, things that are just natural. They're just natural, they're just
Yeah.
medical. Just feel like, oh, this is what it is, this is you. Probably you offended one god, or you still, I mean, it's what is present right here in Nigeria. Still very present right in Nigeria.
Yeah.
For example, the epilepsy now, epilepsy. Like I would say more than 10% or more than 20% of Nigerians still believe that epilepsy is godly thing. It's like something probably
Yeah.
like it, I mean, so the state
Yeah.
of literacy issue. So this is literacy issue. So I swear there have been some organizations where they are advocating for health literacy, but still a developing thing. We haven't reached that level yet where everybody is literate about health and
Yeah.
everything.
And it's actually quite sad. So you know that okay, people that or children that might have these issues till today or even the
Mm-hmm.
past 5 years would not still be able to have any cure. They would have to
Mm-hmm.
rely on their parents. They can't.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to explain. It's just like that child is on their own and that parents on their own. I don't even think the Nigerian policies actually support. I don't even know if there's any policy that supports kids in this bracket. If you get what I mean.
Okay. Yeah, I get. Yeah, for policy, I mean, when it comes to policy, they see a lot of policies. I'm currently working on a project called, I think, digital diet policy. I come to
Yeah.
understand that almost all European countries, I mean, their government have already developed a guideline for youth and how to use digital technology. Some say that, okay, youth, the maximum time you can spend on phone is 5 hours, 2 hours.
Mm.
But I come to Nigeria, there's not like I've not heard of any policy like related to digital technology use. So aside that, there's a lot of things, a lot of policy that many Western worlds have developed, they come with to implement that
Mm.
Africans, Nigerian have not even heard of. I've not even have, like not even probably even heard of. So now spring, I think I recently for the autism I know of organization like that. Because there's a project I work on around autism awareness and all.
Yeah.
So I come to understand that I think one of the major problem or major challenges that the organization was saying is that there's no funding, so they solely relies on the patients or they rely on the parents to fund
Yeah.
them so they can do their work because
Mm.
government is not funding them. So what they do is right now is like because there's like limited funding, so they have to like relies on parents funding to do other things. And as well, there's issue of corruption as well. Even the funding they are receiving, there's I mean, there's embezzlement. There's very embezzlement. So that's like what I like. I think that's the issue. I mean, that's the current issue, right? When it
Mm.
comes to even there are some organizations, the organizations they're still looking for funding, and even the funding they are currently, they are still even misusing them. So that's like the current. It's a very complex,
Yeah.
a very complex issue.
I think it's very sad. To be fair, I really don't know when or how that we're going to kind of change the narrative when it comes to neurological disorders in Nigeria and Africa. And it's so sad because you know that there are people who are actually smart, but they have to
Yeah,
leave this country if they really want
okay.
to. But I still
Mm-hmm.
believe people like you can change the country. We have people like
So,
we've just seen Mr. Temidayo Nyosun of Space Africa that
yeah,
recently
still like
sent the
that.
embassy to space. He started his
Mm-hmm.
company in Africa, and
Mm-hmm.
just somehow, some way, he was able to, build it to the heights. We have people like I don't know if you know Dr. Adereni Abiodun of Help Mom.
Mm.
He's built a
Oh, I don't
nice research center for maternity,
know.
infant mortality or something like that, and he's really
Mm-hmm.
done a lot of good work when it comes to research and helping
Mm-hmm.
mothers around the very rural areas. So I still believe
Mm-hmm.
that pioneers like you, there's always someone who has to start the mission and the vision.
Mission,
And I
yeah,
know, like, with
definitely.
some sort of push and some sort of resilience, it's not very
Mm-hmm.
easy, but you can
Mm.
always start something. It's bad, but I still believe that we're getting there. We even have
Yeah,
cases of people who
definitely.
are into AI. I think there's a
Yeah,
project called Air Lab in Unilag, and the
definitely.
lady,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
yeah, the lady, I think something I read something about her not having funding, or Nigeria's still very down
Funny.
below when it comes to AI, even when, these are people who are pushing this. So Nigeria has a very long way to go, and Africa in general. But for now,
Yeah.
we can only speak about our country, but the giant of Africa, or the supposed giant of Africa. So we need to actually
Okay.
represent, our
Yes.
country.
Okay.
So I was also going to ask you when it comes to the area of encouraging children to go into science, to go
Mm-hmm.
into the medical
Mm-hmm.
field. I don't think
Right.
our childhood, of course, most of our parents were like, you will read medicine, but
Mm-hmm.
everyone can be a doctor. Like you
Yeah,
just
not.
said, yeah,
Yes.
you're more interested in the research, neuro field.
Credit
Well,
aspect,
I don't
science.
know, was there some part of your childhood that kind of maybe helped you to learn science more, just get more interested? Were there some practical elements that aided
Mm.
your love for science?
Okay, yeah. So when I was growing up, I mean, I myself, I was like, I'm an agent of, or victim of not accessing to quality education.
Yeah.
I mean, I attended one of the poorest schools in the system. So the only thing that helped me right now, so like the only thing that helped me there was like, I just like, I always like dream big until I dream big. I always like always like having the pursuits for or the interest to go beyond what I'm currently doing.
Yeah.
Because like, so that's mine. And as well, I always want to be unique. I always want to be different from people. I don't want to be the same. I don't want to be following the same path. So that's like I'll say one of my mottos then that I want to be unique. I want to be different from thousands of people. If they take like 50,000 students in Nigeria, I mean, I should be like one of the one special or one different student. So with that, yes, I done a lot of things when I was secondary
Mm.
school. I read a lot. I read a lot, like 14 hours on stretch to COVID. I read a lot. You can see my eyes have, I mean, I have a very sucking eye. I read a lot. I read a lot. And I
Unfortunately, I
feel
can't see your eye because of the glasses.
yeah, without the glass, I have to like use the glass because I don't want to see so bad. So I read a lot, I read a lot. And as well, I'm always like, because I attended very, very poor school, I just like reach out to people that I know that are going to very good school, about college. I make friends with them. Okay, please, I guys do. My school, I was like the senior boy, I'm the most brilliant guy. When I meet those guys in all those big schools, this guy is a local boy. Local champion. I'll feel pain like yeah, I have to like do well. I'll be like I won't tell them myself that I'll do it than these guys in jam. I'll do it than
Yeah.
someone. And those guys will still beat. They still do it than me. They still do it than me. So the only thing I come to understand is the fact that every one of us has brilliance. I think we have the brain, we have the capacity to do great things.
Yeah.
But on aside that, one very important thing about it is that also in the environment. The environment is a very, very important thing. Might be even be brilliant, might be very intelligent, might even be a genius. But you don't have the environment that is very supportive, that
Mm.
makes you think beyond your current state. There's a
Thank you.
high chance that you will be poisoned. I mean, the one thing about problem about this Nigeria right now is that almost everyone of us is poisoned. I mean, we have because our environment usually we think the same way, we do things in the same way. So it's a very
Yeah.
high chance that you yourself will poison. So environment plays a very key factor because I say I also have a very good environment because let's in another environment, I will not actually be here today. Understand? But many of the students don't have the opportunity to be in that environment. Many of them are born in private environments where even their brothers, they're smoking, they are ordering those
Yeah.
properties. So I stay with my grandparents. So my grandparents live in a community where people are not like it's not really too bad. So that's like another thing that also helped me about that. So I can't understand that those students that are doing great things, it's not as if they have one special brain. It's not as if that they don't even read more than me. I read 14 hours in stretch. Many of them just read 2 hours, two and 1 hour. They still do way more than me. The only advantage they have is that they have a very good environment, supportive
Yeah.
environment. Like their mom is a doctor, their mom is a professor, their brother probably like your brother, let's say that your brother had like 340 in jam. You
Yeah.
yourself, you inspire that I have to do it because my brother did this. And you also have probably someone in your skills that is, I mean, is also doing great things. I see them
Yeah.
seeing doing great things. It's this part of you that, I mean, I also have to like, I have to do something like that. But you're in an environment whereby the highest person you see that has done great probably is the person that had probably 1A in YS. I mean, probably that's like all the achievements you've seen. So your pursuit will also be like, you just have two A's. You just have
Absolutely.
two A's. Absolutely. So that's like all things around that. So I'm always like, I always want to push ahead. I always want to be unique. I always want to be like
Yeah.
different. So it makes me to like to reach out to people. I reach out to people a lot. I reach out to people. I reach out to people a lot. I beg for notes, write notes. I even reach out to teachers in those schools that please I don't need this practical because my school
Yes.
it's only like 2 days or 3 days before WAEC that they start teaching us practical exams and practical, having practical, even practical physics and practical chemistry. So I reach out to those teachers there that, please, I don't have this knowledge. So many of them teach me, they have to like draw those practicals on book because they can't take me into their school because I'm not
Mm.
part of the school. I'm not part of the students. So they have to like draw those things for me on papers
Yeah.
and everything. And as well, I think when I entered SS2, SS3, I got a phone. So my friend was like, my girlfriend was like, this one, it should be like one of major distractions. But mind you, I mean, that one I got was one of my major, I mean, one of the major things that actually pushed me to be here
Mm.
today. Because the phone, I was able to like do a lot. My Facebook then, I have more than 100 groups. All the 100 groups were science, physics, chemistry, biology groups that we had discussions, that people
Yeah.
post. And as well, I go online, I go on YouTube. I mean, I have a lot of tutorials I watch on YouTube. Even practicals, all those practicals exams, all those practicals, I just go online, look for them. I read a lot of things with that phone. And as well,
Mm.
even to now, my WhatsApp as well, even to now, I hardly chat on WhatsApp. Everything in my group or my WhatsApp is group discussions, mentorships, everything. Just one. So that's like what's really good enough. It says that I had access to phones and I was able to use that phone not for distractions of my upgrading
Yeah.
of my.
I
So
think
with
you said
resilience, with
something.
commitment, okay, yeah, with resilience, with commitment, with always like the pursuit of doing well. I mean, always going beyond what I'm currently doing. I mean, that's how really what even sparked my interest in science. And as well, science,
Yeah.
solving problems, solving problems. Then as well, I also see Cabepedia students giving them 1 million. I was like, 1 million. I really want to, I really want to blow. So I read. I even like the same time I even to my, I went to my principal that I like to participate in Cabepedia competition. They said they still don't have money to
Yeah.
register. I was not able to participate. And as well, I think there's spark competition as well that I should like actually went to. When it's COVID-19, during that COVID-19, I read now because I see students doing online. I mean those students in the past winners. I see what they did. Like they were able to answer questions within 2 seconds. I was
Yes.
like, I must do this. So that's like, I mean, that's what really helped me when I was in secondary school. Just finding exposure, finding communication and all. Yeah, thank you.
I think you've said in all this, you've said something that really hit my mind, and it's
Mm-hmm.
talking about using technology for good.
Yeah,
So we've
technology.
had, yeah, because we've had a lot of people talk about digital technology, how phones can be distractions, especially for young
Mm-hmm.
children. But
Mm-hmm.
you've just said something that's countered that because you're young. At that age in SS2,
Mm-hmm.
everything, people like me then, it was cartoons,
Cartoons,
I want to watch
yeah.
cartoons and all of that. But
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can just see that actually you can decide the power of what
Mm-hmm.
you want to actually use a gadget like a phone to do. So
Mm-hmm.
for every
Mm-hmm.
child, when you have such technologies around you, or when you're
Technology.
opportunity to have that,
Yeah.
you should use it for good instead of for things that would actually take
Mm-hmm.
knowledge out of you. You should actually be able to
Mm-hmm.
use it to gain more knowledge and gain more,
Knowledge.
even build a better
Yeah.
community. The issue about community and environment, I started
Yeah.
to learn a lot of things or know about schools like MIT or Stanford because of the
MIT,
internet.
yeah. Stanford.
Without the internet, I
Yeah.
wouldn't know about them.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Yes.
think this is also for people, or maybe someone hearing this someday could also see that you have the power to make your digital gadgets or your
Mm-hmm.
digital technologies around you actually build knowledge for you rather than be a sort of a source of distraction, for you.
Definitely. Yes, I
Um,
would like to say something on that. I like go ahead.
No,
And aside
sure.
for the cartoon, aside for the cartoon and movies, I watch movies a lot as well. I watch cartoon a lot as well. And I come to understand that I learn some things in cartoons, I learn some things in movies. Like there are
Yeah.
some concepts that I'll learn because in that cartoons, in that movies, they talk about it. I mean,
Yeah.
when I was young, I watched much of Nickelodeon, I watched much of Tom and Jerry, I watched from Tom and Jerry, I learned about gravity, how when you push, I mean, when you drop something, it has to like
Hmm.
always go down. You
Yeah.
understand? So for movies as well, I watch American movies. I watch a lot of movies that just because of, I mean, in the cast, they just mentioned some things, some concepts. I was like, this nice,
Yes.
this nice. So, I mean, you can also watch movies and still learn a lot from movies. Even to now, I still watch lots from movies. I learn a lot from movies. I watch historical dramas. Why? Because from dramas, I learn a lot of science. So that it's not really like fully form of distraction. You can also learn a lot from other sports as well.
Hmm. It's actually very interesting. This is one of my favorite topics, media and the state
Yeah.
of the child, how it really impacts learning for a child and how it really expands the child's mind. But you have a lot of critics when they say technology is not good, the phones are not good. Of course, they have every reason to say that. But I also believe that the phones or the media sources we use can be a channel of knowledge, especially for areas like ours that are very
Yeah.
low on on
Hello.
practical tools or low on the kind of resources that we actually want for some of us to actually be better people in life.
Yeah.
I've really enjoyed talking to you about some of these, about your love for neuroscience, just getting
Um,
that real-time information because even I myself didn't know what a neurophysicist is until I saw your profile. I was like, what's this? So I was kind of very intrigued, and that was why I actually reached out to you. And I saw what you were doing with the is it the
yeah.
EEG and the neurospire
Yeah.
brain
EEG
technology and all
analysis.
of that.
Yes.
Yeah. So it was
Yeah.
really good. So I want to ask you one thing. If you could envision one transformative innovation for Africa around cognitive health, around neuroscience, what would it be?
Hmm. I would say, I mean, one thing I would like to probably like to like building a very large community and building large networks
Yeah.
of, I mean, that's something I would also want to do with Neurospire because I myself have seen the impact of seeing people doing great things,
Yeah.
and with that great things, I'm inspired as well. So when we have a very large networking or large network of, I mean, of people doing probably like neuroscience now, very, very large network of people,
Mm.
science, then probably have like a different level of sectors or different levels that, okay, this first level are the people that are, okay, they are already doctors or they are already um, researchers at this particular stage. They also
Yeah.
have like another sector, okay, probably undergrad students, and last sector probably high school students. So it
Mm.
would be like one-to-one mentorship. It says that the one at the highest top, probably doctors already, probably researcher already. Then they mentor the undergrad, and the undergrad as well also mentor the high school students. And probably the undergrad and the high school students, they also like educate the whole community at large.
Yeah.
Understand? So like A give B, B give C. There's B and C give the O, D at large. So being a very large network of people having interest in probably particular field, probably neuroscience, or having science networks,
Yeah.
a very big network that we have different things. So you seeing people, I mean, you seeing great men at level, you see them doing great things. It really inspires you as well. And as well, undergrad as well. They're also looking up to the people at A. And undergrad as well, there's also maybe like doing great things as well. It inspires the high school students. I myself now, many high school students have reached out to me like, how I would like to be like you, I would like to do things like you, I would like to do
Mm.
this. So it's really come to that way, really come to that way. Because but the reason we have right now that many people are leaving the country without just
Yeah.
coming back. Only few coming back. Only few are coming back. We probably need more people to like come back. You know what I mean? Nigeria itself got independence. Why? Because our
Mm.
all those great man, they went to UK, they went to United States, they see how things were. Then they come back that, oh, Nigeria must receive independence from this person. So I mean Africa, we need independence. We need independence in science. So we are solely dependent on those people who have already seen the problem, they've already
Yeah.
seen the problem, then coming back to impact and make a change. So building a very large network, I feel like that would be the best thing. And as well, organizations, foundations, we need more social people, we need more people. I mean, let's say you have something like New Aspire, you have like 50 New Aspire initiatives in Nigeria. Then,
Yeah.
I mean, I would definitely feel a lot of impact and a lot of development that. Because let's say you
I
have every state, there's different organizations advocating for the same thing. It will reach more people, reach more population. Yeah.
I totally agree with you. Collaboration is very important. Um,
Collaboration.
but especially, I still believe that we can't still do it without like the Western bodies because these are people that are way
Mm-hmm.
more advanced than we are. How do you
Yeah,
see
definitely.
collaborations with larger institutions? For example, like the Allen Institute you talked about, the Stanford, the Harvards, the MITs. Do you think it's going to be kind of hard to convince them to maybe come into Africa and bring some of those technologies that they have already to to countries like ours?
Yeah, I would say it is like how it is in two ways. Because other institutes, even MIT, so all those big institutions in the United States, they're already working towards, reaching much of their, like trying to reach much of their impacts. But
Yeah,
it comes with having someone that will convince them. And as well, right now, Africans, we've done a lot of wrong things. We've done a lot of wrong things that it's been very, very hard for the institutions to even trust us again. Many people have won the grant, we've run away, and so we still need. I'll say like yes, it's very visible. That I'll say like that's one of the best ways to reach an impact by
mm,
collaborating with them. Understand? But
yeah,
we still really need some people. Some indigenous Africans, some great indigenous Africans to like initiate the collaboration. And I feel we don't really want. Aside that, we need them to. Collaborate with them. We also need indigenous. We need country country, state to state collaboration as
yeah,
well. We need local collaboration. Already there has been a lot of development as well on that, but we still need much more of it. We need much more of it. And as well, we need local investment. One thing that is helping United States is the fact that okay, NIH is like the largest funding institution in the United States because
yeah,
that the fund institution, the fund labs and all. If you can have something like that in Nigeria, in Africa, I myself, I've only heard about TED Fund. And TED Fund only fund, like, the funding
mostly
in fund
educational.
in Nigeria is very, very small, very, very low.
Yes,
And as well, aside that, United States, aside NIH, there are some organizations, there are some companies that they fund labs. I know of Google Fund Labs. I know of different private sectors,
yes.
business owners that fund research, they fund research. But Africa, you also have banks, you have big
So
multinationals,
we should start.
but
So
many
we
of
should start
them,
writing to these big organizations
yes,
like
big
Dangote
organizations,
and
yes,
$10 to
because
open like a research center
definitely,
for us.
definitely,
I think we
definitely,
can
but
do it. Yeah.
can do that. We can also do it that way, but it really comes as well with someone, initiating it. You need someone that would, let me say, drive that as well.
Hmm.
So, drive that as well. But another problem we also have again is the educative aspect because most of the research are fundamental. It's like a long-term thing. What you're doing right now, you're not showing the results right now. It's like a
Yes.
long-term thing. So fundamental research doesn't just come boom. It comes with time. It comes with having the mind that oh, maybe in the future this might come around. And
Hmm.
this is the cornerstone of the United States. United States, Western West, they fund much of fundamental research. They don't even
Yes.
care if all their funding might not show the result right now. They don't even care if later on in the future all their funding right now might not even show the result at all. That's fine.
They just
Like
fund.
that's what they just fund. They just fund just for the benefit of mankind, for the great benefit of mankind, for the benefit of great knowledge and all. So they just keep funding and funding, funding. But here in Africa, here in Nigeria, many of us just want to. Fast, just want to really want something to just come and all. So it also comes with educating people and
Yeah.
initiating the collaboration as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I really agree with you. It's like looking at the private institutions in Africa as well, because
Yes.
the thing is they even have the trust, so it will be easier to actually get people
Yeah.
to even
Yeah.
fund them
Definitely.
from
Definitely.
the
Mm.
bigger countries. And I think this is one key thing I've actually learned from you. I've actually picked from what
Definitely.
you've just said. Yeah. I know that there's one more question I wanted to ask you, and it is in terms of
Mm-hmm.
like the practical aspect of learning. So there's one
Mm-hmm.
thing to actually learn, the way we've
Mm-hmm.
always learned. And I've seen
Mm-hmm.
there was a trend recently on Twitter where students in UNN, University of
Mm-hmm.
Nigeria, were learning Python
Yes.
on paper. And
People on board.
yeah, yeah, on board. So, but what we have here in the West, we have what you call the maker culture, where people use STEM
Mm-hmm.
kits to, learn practically. And I know that's one of the things the No Black Boxes has done for
Yeah.
Neuroaspire.
Hands on.
How do you
Mm-hmm.
see that culture in Africa? Do you think the maker culture, the practical side of learning, is something that's still going to hold us back in some sort of way? And
Yeah.
what way do you think we should actually encourage that?
Okay, yeah, based on that, what we do here right here in India, what we do here in Africa is rote memorization. You just want to like just read it, just go it
Yeah,
down. There's not like
yeah,
EPO. There's not like a room for where you provide answers to questions where you think. before you provide answers to questions. Because it's
Mm.
just like training like AI. I mean, AI just like pour you the information to then pull it down as how it is. And I can't blame them. I mean, the issue of the issue of funding, the issue of having limited access to resources. I myself, I'm a medical student. What they teach me, I feel like okay, I feel like the medicine is a bit more. I
Yeah.
think it's a bit more better. Why? Because you still have demand around the practice. We have big doses so we can have our hands on all those stuff. So I feel you still have like a lot of gaps as well. I mean, as a medical student, most of my exams are just like MCQ questions. There's not even something like that. I would think, okay, what is it? Like based on what I've learned, I can deduce something. I can create something from out of it. How
Yeah.
they are training us, how they are teaching us is just put it down and put it down and put it down and put it down. And even people that are teaching us, they hardly come to classes. They hardly, I mean, they just drop slides, just read it. I mean, and I can't blame them as well because their salaries, government is not paying their salaries, and
Mm.
they themselves they are trying to like look for that funds, other ways where they can get more funds. So you just come to class, just pour everything down, and so that's how I mean that's the current status of the country. But I think the only way, I mean, the only solution to that as well is like you need this government. I mean, we need more investment, more budget into education. And I
Yeah.
feel like we also need more. I mean, we need more need for like curriculum development. I mean, we need to like totally change our curriculum. I mean, the curriculum we are using right now is like 50 years. I mean, old. I mean, I'll give an example. For example, now currently my school, currently the first school, the curriculum they are still doing is still like 50 years. It's like they are still learning all the old methods, old techniques. Someone is teaching them the current like I, right now. Only few of them know about probably electron collider. No, only few. They're still learning microscope. They're still learning light microscope. You don't learn about electron microscopes.
Mm.
Just one. So it's like far. And I can't believe in seeing the fact that there's funding and there's lack of funding and all sorts of things. And government has said there's not even a supportive environment. Because
Yeah.
if you want to learn that as well as a student, probably you want to like be innovative, you want to like intuit, you
Mm.
want to learn. There's high chance you fail. There's high chance you fail because the question they will ask you is not it just wants you to pour and down. Just can you recognize? Is
Yeah.
that how you see it? 2 plus 2 is equal to 4 in the book. And they ask 2 plus 2 in the exam. That's how they want you to put it. Don't say that 2 plus 2 equal to this and this and that. So that's how so there's also like very much like not a good supportive environment as well. So there's a need for more funding. Government has to like also include budgets into education as well. Because if these people, I mean, these lecturers, these professors have more. I mean, I mean, probably I mean, probably called government pay their salary at the right time. I mean,
Mm.
this form of encouragement they will get. I think
Yeah.
I was thinking about is it China that the professors, I think that they are the second highest paid workers in the country. But right now in Nigeria, I mean, professors like if they want to rank them, probably they'll be like the 50th most paid most paid. For the people, I mean, 50 most paid, 500, like 500 most paid, because they pay
Yeah.
them very low amount of money, and they have to feed themselves, feed their family, and even family have to depend on them. So
Yeah.
it's very, even if they know those stuff, they want to stress, stress themselves, right? I don't have, let me just leave and then just put my thing and go. So we need for more funding, need for more budget into education as well. And also, we also need a very supportive environment and supportive so that's like, that's the only way we are out of that.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, Bellamy. We've actually shut out of time. This was supposed to be for 30
Okay.
minutes. We've added an extra
Oh,
18 minutes, just learning a lot from you.
really?
It's been a
Okay.
real pleasure speaking with you, and
Oh, thank
hopefully
you.
we get to learn more from you. We get to see people like you pushing the field of neuroscience, and it's one part
Oh,
of that field is one part I felt like if I had really gone into the pure core sciences, I would have actually
mm-hmm.
specialized in that field because I personally have seen people, loved ones around me that has been stigmatized because of their health conditions,
Mm.
not of their
Oh, that's
making.
cool.
In my mind, I was just wondering as a child, like then, as little as I was, I knew something was wrong with some of those people around me. And I said, it's not witchcraft, it's something. And I started researching, and that was when I
Yes,
first learned about autism. So for me, it's like,
autism.
it's really critical that every child feel like they are actually loved and everybody has a place in society. So it will be nice to see what you will do in the future. It will be nice to see what most of the students from OAU and other Nigerian institutions will do. And let's see how we can keep pushing the work forward.
Okay.
Lastly, I just want to ask also if you have any questions to ask me. I like to give my
Oh,
guests the chance to maybe ask one or two
okay.
questions.
Okay. Yeah, can do. Any question? Yes.
If you don't have any, it's not, it's still
I don't.
okay.
I don't. I
All right. Thank you
don't.
so much, Pelumi. It's been such a pleasure
Yeah.
listening to you today.
Thank you.
And have a
Thank
lovely
you.
evening.
Bye bye.
Yeah, bye.